Well, hello there. Thank you for joining another Wayne Wednesday. I hope you're all staying masked and safe. It's so important that you do that. We want you to stick around for season after season with us, so do be careful. Well, greetings. Today we're excited. On Movie Club, that always drops a new picture on Wednesday. So Wednesday night, it's the Olivia Newton-John opus Xanadu. And then if you're a Spotlight Society member, you can see the Movie Club intro and outro, which includes some really great clips from the version of Xanadu that we did in 2011. But you can also see those on Flashback Friday. So I hope you'll tune in for that. Well, it was suggested that one of the topics we might cover for at least one afternoon is great Broadway singers. And I would be so curious to find out whom you enjoy listening to. Who are some of your favorites? Do you have some special songs that they do that you don't think everybody might have heard about already? Our friend Edward Sturm has put together a playlist that matches up with what I'm going to talk about today. And I tried to pick the songs that are not the most typical for these singers, but which I think demonstrate really well how wonderful their artistry is. I have enjoyed so much Broadway singing through the years, and the styles have really changed. And it used to be, of course, in the 1900s, that it was all operatic sopranos and it was baritones and tenors who sang, and they could sing loud enough to be heard over an orchestra pit full of musicians without microphones. And the orchestrating had to take into account that you were going to hear live voices and not compete with them. Now it's very, very different. Now the sound in a Broadway theater or at Music Theater Wichita is all mixed by a sound designer, and everyone is wearing microphones, including the players in the orchestra pit. So the mix is created not in the live atmosphere, but in the genius of your sound designer. Hopefully, they can do it in such a way that it does sound like a nice, natural acoustic sound. I think our designer, David Meal, does an especially good job of that. But I picked five singers to talk about today, three women and two men. And it's funny, after I put them together and I gave the list of songs to Edward to put into the to our playlist, I noticed that all three of the women really are sopranos and not belters. They're all ladies who can do a variety of styles, but they really don't go into an actual belt voice. So next week we might want to talk about the ladies who can do that. I don't want you to think I don't appreciate and enjoy that, because I do. But these ladies all have something in common with the two men that I selected today. Four of these five are living, but the first one we'll talk about died just 3 years ago. She was active absolutely up to the end. She was 89 when she died, and her name, if you don't know it now, you need to do a little YouTubing, is Barbara Cook. She first came to prominence in the 1950s, and she showed up in a flop show called Flahuli, and then a moderately successful show called Plain and Fancy. And then she did a lot of revivals of shows like Carousel and Oklahoma and Showboat. But then she really came to the fore when she was chosen by Leonard Bernstein to play Cunegonda in his flop operetta Candide, which turned out to be one of the genius works of musical theater. And she created an aria called Glitter and Be Gay, in which this young girl is suddenly being bedecked with jewels, and she likes it, even if it means she has to compromise her virtue. And it's a takeoff on an operetta laughing song. And the more jewelry she puts on, the giddier she gets. And the genius of Barbara Cook's interpretation of it is you're always listening to the words, you're always getting the humor of her situation, and yet she is singing accurately the most incredibly demanding piece of music you can ever hear, including some high E's, which is not easy for anybody. But she just did it, and she did it 8 times a week and didn't think any more of it. And when that closed, she went right into a show called The Music Man and won a Tony Award for creating the role of Marion the librarian. So she's really remarkable. She did a lot of TV specials in the 50s, which are now available to see. I especially recommend Yeoman of the Guard and Bloomer Girl. But the best thing is to go on YouTube and see her at all her different ages. Uh, After her ingenue period, which also included a great show called She Loves Me, she had some personal problems. She put on weight. She kind of disappeared. And then she came back as a tremendous cabaret singer and then as a tremendous coach. And the other two ladies I'm mentioning today were both mentored by her and both share something very unique in common with her. One is Audra Mcdonald. She was first seen. I saw her as the Aya in the Secret Garden national tour when it played up in Lawrence. But then she took everybody by storm as Carrie in Carousel at Lincoln Center. In fact, she was so much the best thing about that, they might have well have called it Carrie instead of Carousel. That won her the first of her many Tony Awards. I don't remember if it's 6 or 7 right now, but she has more than any other living person as a performer. And she's the only person to have won them as Best Actress and Supporting Actress in a musical and Best Actress and Supporting Actress in a play. She has them all. Uh, quite a remarkable lady, and an Emmy Award too. She has a variety of personal albums that she has done, and I recommend all of them. But of course, you have to hear her on the original cast album of Ragtime. She's phenomenal in that, and she did a wonderful Broadway revival of a show called 110 in the Shade. And I picked a song on the playlist called Raunchy, where she's a staid Midwestern girl who never has a date, and she says, "Oh, I know exactly how those girls do it." And she puts on a very outgoing persona for one song, and it's really, really funny and wonderful. She can bring humor, she can bring pathos. She is just truly extraordinary. She's Grace Farrell in the TV movie of Annie. Anyway, don't miss Audra McDonald and look her up if you don't know everything she's done. And then the last of the ladies, very happily for us, is Kelly O'Hara, whose first professional job was working at Music Theater Wichita while she was going to uh, OCU, Oklahoma City University. She sings, she dances, she's funny, she's gorgeous and beautiful, beautiful soprano voice. She was nominated for Tony Awards that she could have easily won and deserved to for Sweet Smell of Success, Bridges of Madison County, South Pacific. She was so wonderful and got to do that on TV live from Lincoln Center. You can also see her in the live concert from Lincoln Center of Carousel. She's terrific in that, but she finally won her Tony Award for The King and I, which you can see on Broadway HD, and they show it on PBS sometimes. And she is well worth seeing. All of these ladies sing with a luscious, beautiful, fluid tone. But unlike so many sopranos of an earlier era, and unlike so many ladies who sing today, you never miss a word they say. You are always more intent on hearing what they're singing about, and then you happen to notice that the sound is absolutely gorgeous and perfect on every single note, but you don't listen to them thinking, "Oh my goodness, what wonderful technique." You listen because you're caught up in the stories they spin. The same is true, I think, of both of the gentlemen I picked out today. One is Jeremy Jordan. You might have seen him on the TV series Smash. He's done quite a bit of TV work, but it was an interesting thing when he came to Broadway prominence. He was chosen to do the first stage reading and then stage performance of Newsies. And they tried it out at the Paper Mill Playhouse, and it was supposed to be a short run, which was just fine because he was about to go into the Broadway show Bonnie and Clyde, playing Clyde. And the producers of Bonnie and Clyde did not want to do that show without him. And after Disney saw the effect that Jeremy Jordan had in Newsies, they didn't want to do Newsies without him. Well, suddenly, Newsies at the Paper Mill Playhouse was a huge hit, and suddenly they were booking it for Broadway, and somebody said, okay, but your leading man has another gig. He's playing the title role, Clyde, in Bonnie and Clyde, so you may just have to wait. And unhappily for Bonnie and Clyde, and happily for Newsies, Bonnie and Clyde was not received as well as they might have hoped, even though it had some great things and great praise for both Jeremy Jordan and his leading lady, Laura Osnes. but it closed quickly. So Disney was happily able to get Jeremy Jordan right over to the Newsies rehearsals and open Newsies with him. And you can see him and his original Broadway leading lady, Cara Lindsay, in the TV telecast of Newsies, which is available on Amazon Prime. And it's really well done, and you can see why he was such a sensation in that part. He is especially memorable in the TV film. No, not TV film. It was released to theaters first, but the film version of The Last 5 Years, which is just Jeremy Jordan and Anna Kendrick singing all of the songs in that show. Highly recommended. And then my last guy today, Aaron Tveit. I was incensed when he didn't get a Tony nomination for his smashing debut in Next to Normal. And then he didn't get a Tony Award in Catch Me If You Can. And I thought he was incredible in that as well. But he's doing just fine. He's the leading man in Moulin Rouge. He should have gotten the Tony Award for that this year, but of course, COVID-19 has closed down Broadway and they've canceled the Tonys this year. He'll still be eligible whenever they come back, and I hope they remember him. He's wonderful in Moulin Rouge. Uh, and if you are part of Spotlight Society and you joined us for Grease Live, he's the Danny Zuko on that, and he's pretty wonderful. Something all five of these singers have in common, and if you are aspiring singers or successful singers, and if you are somebody who's ever going to audition for me at Music Theater Wichita or any of my colleagues on our auditioning staff, I urge you to pay attention to the one thing all five of these singers have in common. It's not voice range, it's not age. It is the fact that all five of them can take you on a story, on a journey. And when they begin a song, you're in one place. And by the time they get to the end of the song, you may have gone on a trip. It may be an exultant, joyful ride. Moving Too Fast, that Jeremy Jordan does in Last 5 Years, is one of those. Or it may be a journey of self discovery. A couple of the Barbara Cook songs I picked from an obscure show called The Gay Life about this young woman trying to figure out if she means as much to Anatole, the man she's in love with. And she's promising to bring him something you never had before. Listen to the way she builds this song from the beginning to the end. Nervous at first and then ready to make a full commitment. And how she's able to make that dramatically happen, layering on her musicianship on top of a song that just gets higher and higher and higher and becomes quite exultant. The same thing with her rendition of Will He Like Me from She Loves Me. Audra Mcdonald takes you on a journey every song she does, but listen especially to a song called I Won't Mind by Jeff Blumenkrantz. It's a whole story song all in itself and quite terrific. So write to me. Tell me whom you like. Feel free to disagree with me on any of my choices. Tell me whom we should cover next time. I think Broadway singing is an extraordinary and unique thing for me. It's all about the storytelling, but I do want perfect pitch and diction all at the same time, too. Join us next time, and hopefully we'll see you Friday for Flashback Friday Xanadu.